Waka, what's up, and welcome back to the channel for yet another FC Finch Transformers review, a third-party Transformers review, and we're going to go a little bit back in time, a couple years ago, and take a look at Ocular Max PS-21 Medicus, and this is actually Ocular Max's first installment in their Maximus Pro Combiner set. He is a Masterpiece scaled, as they don't exactly specify him as Masterpiece, but he will scale well with your Masterpieces in robot mode, and this is a Masterpiece scaled take on First Aid of the Protectobot team. Now, to kind of put some preface to this, at the time that this guy came out, I know that I did review the Navigant about a year ago, but when this guy came out, I wasn't entirely sure what route I wanted to go with the Protectobots. That has since been remedied with my own mind, and I am, like the Combaticons, going to go with the Ocular Max for the individual robot and alternate modes, and I will just wait until another company that isn't Next Transbots comes out and does the Defensor, but I am more than patient. I can wait. As far as how I got this figure, I do want to give a shout out to the guy I bought it from. I bought it secondhand from a guy named Bob. That's all I'm going to name him on here. I don't want to give away too much about him, but he did get this to me rather quickly and for a solid price, and I am super thankful for that. Always awesome to do business with other collectors looking to offload parts of their collection. So definitely very thankful to him for getting this to me very quickly. And I did do a formal unboxing. I will post a link to that in the description below, but we're going to do a quick spin of the box here before we move on. So let's get it done with. And of course, we have a nice, very nice image of Medicus on their PS-21 Medicus. He is the effing doctor from Ocular Max, or the Ox. And then we have a nice side shot of Mr. Medicus on the side. And then on the back, I love this image here of him transforming through all his modes. You can pause and read the bio if you like. We did this in the unboxing, hinted, link below. And of course, we have the foreshadowing, nice pun there of what the Maximus Pro will look like, and that's going to be pretty much it for the box. So let's get a look at Mr. Medicus, and overall, he is a solid figure upon first presentation. Like, I'm not sure if there's any metal in this guy at all, but he feels like a really hefty piece of plastic. Like, he's got a good weight to him. His construction feels solid, as you're going to see when we do the articulation. Just overall feels really good. So he has a little bit of paint, so we'll start off with the head, and you can see the visor is really well done. It's like a metallic purplish blue or whatever. It looks good. It's got kind of like a little metallic finish right in there. It looks really good. Mostly plastic for the helmet, but it does have a lot of molded detail. It looks very nice. And of course, I think his doctor's mask might be painted on. It does look very good. He's the doctor, so he's eternally got his mask on. Got some, I believe, paint here on the chest over plastic. His wheels and tires still sticking out on the front there, and just a little bit of white here at the bottom. He is, of course, the doctor of the group, the team medic, so of course he is dressed out mostly like doctors would be, red and white. And of course you can see he's basically got the ambulance for the foot. He's got a little emergency there. We'll get more of that in the alt mode, but real quick, just kind of look at the interior of the leg and how this unfolds. We'll see this during the transformation, but this is really nice how they filled it in and made it all nice and cohesive. It looks really, really good. In fact, all over, again, you can see in back like how it used basically the combiner hand to fill this in, and just all the gaps are nice and filled in. It does look incredibly good. Even the back, I mean, you could tell how nice the torso area compacted all over again. All these van pieces just compacted, everything just fills in. It doesn't really have that much of a backpack, just looks nice and clean. And one thing I want to mention, no screw holes. Look at this, like there's only 2 screws right there, but everything else is super nice and clean, just all over. A really clean robot, really well done, and feels really good. We'll move on to his articulation. He does have the head. Now the head is on a base hinge here. It can look way up, it can look down a little bit, but it has a ball joint that can have it look down a little bit more. It can swivel all the way around if you so desire. The arm, now the arm does come out like this on this hinge right here, but you could actually make it go up on a separate hinge. Oh yeah, so you can do the full-on cartwheel. This joint is a bit tight, I might add. It does go all the way around as well. He does have a bicep swivel, and he does have a double jointed elbow for a full-on wrist swivel as well. And all his fingers are individually articulated on a base hinge, and then of course he's got the thumb on a ball joint. Move his arms out to the side, and we will give him a waist swivel. It moves really nicely. All the joints move really nice, and a clickety clackety ratchet, the only ratchet on here for a ab crunch. Then he has the little leg guards right here. I'll kind of move these out of the way. He does have one full one on the back, and then a little side skirt and a front hip skirt. We can move these all out, and he can move up front for just shy of a fusion kick, or he can go back, and that's about all he gets. He hits right on here, and he can go outside for a fusion mega kick. He gets just over, it looks like about 90, but still, we'll give him the fusion kick, and there we go for that. Cut joint for a thigh swivel, and then of course he does have a very nice knee joint which gets you a 90 at the knee, and then he has a toe tilt, a heel tilt, and of course an ankle tilt for days. And that is pretty much it for his articulation. He is just loaded, this guy. We'll move on to his accessories, and he just comes with one accessory. He comes with a little pea shooter, because he is of course the pacifist with the group. It's cast in black right there. I got a little bit of molded detail, but it's mostly G1 void of detail, which is okay by me. Again, he don't believe in fighting with guns, but either way, this does have a tab in back, and you do have a little tab right here in the back of the wrist, and you can just fold that in there and he will hold that just nicely. And that's pretty much it for his accessories. There is no way to store this on him in the robot mode. I did try to store it in the same position that will store in the vehicle mode, but it does not store there for robot mode. So if you don't want him to have the gun, to be the pacifist he is, you have to put the gun back in the box. But that's gonna be pretty much it for his accessories. No additional face sculpts either, because he's got a mask. So, and we'll do a few robot mode comparisons. So firstly, we'll get him in there with the other doctor, Mr. Ratchet. And you can see how he looks with a Takara MP, a bit taller of one. You can see Ratchet is a bit taller, but they are two like-minded individuals. So there we go for that. Him next to a Takara bot. We'll take him out of the way. And then, of course, we'll get him next to another arm bot. We'll get him to our last Transformers review, Mr. Viper from Fans Toys. You could just see, like, the difference in scale between these two combiners. The Fans Toys obviously going to be way taller than the Ocular Max, but just so you can get an idea, and I believe they're both the same arm, the left arm. And that's going to be it for the Fans Toys. And then of course we'll get him in there with his buddy Mr. Navigant, aka Streetwise. You can see how the team is looking, and I can't wait to get Ignis with these guys. This is really shaping up to be a good team, and both really well built. I do like them very much, and that's gonna be pretty much it for our robot comparisons. All right, so let's get Mr. Medicus transforming up into his alternate mode, or one of them anyway, and we're gonna get started. Overall, this transformation is pretty intuitive and straightforward. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna bring his head back just like this. You got these two tabs here. We're going to use this and open up this panel here, and you're going to put the head inside this cavity like he's playing Heads Up 7-Up, and push that back up. It'll kind of stay in place as best it can. And then you might come to his chest and push down on his wheels. They will put a nice snap into position. And to step outside the instructions, we're going to come around to his back, kind of bring up his little front pieces on this hinge and a ball joint. So you're just going to kind of bring this up out of the way, and you're going to take the windshield type thing. You're just going to pull it all the way out on this armature and just leave that like this for just a few moments. Then we're going to come around to the arm, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up this bottom panel right down here, and we're going to move the hand and make sure the hands are in fist. By the way, it's a bit more helpful. Just push them all the way in, and then we're going to close this up. And this one doesn't like to tab in, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be in all the way. And then we're going to come up here, and you got these little panels up here, and we're going to open these up on the forearm. And then what you're going to do is you're going to collapse the entire forearm into the shoulder, and you got this tab right in here. It's going to go into a slot right on here, so the arm's looking like this. Then what you want to do is you want to bring the move the little four piece here all the way back, give yourself some room, bring the arm up over his head, and then you're going to bring the arm, rotate the arm inward so it's facing just like this. And it's going to be the same thing with the other arm. I'll do it off camera. So now we basically got him this pose with his hands up like, oh, I didn't do it. But either way, so we're going to turn him around just like this, and we want to make sure the front end is out of the way, and we're just going to bring down the door panels. And then what we want to do is bring out the upper windows, make sure it's nice and cohesive up here. And then same thing for the other side, bring this out and make sure they're all the way down. They do have a double hinge right here, and just make this nice and cohesive. Next up, what we want to do is we have this assembly down here. We're going to rotate it up on this hinge right here, just like this. And then we could take this, rotate it down, and bring it up on this hinge. And we just want it sitting up at an angle. Same thing for the other side. Bring this down, rotate it up and just leave it sitting right at an angle just like this. And then what we can do is leave the doors out, make sure they're flat down, and you're going to bring the arms around. They got a slot right here. It's going to go into a tab right in here. So rotate it all the way in and just tab it in. Then you could lock it in up here like this, and then you could bring down the light. And it's going to be the same thing on the other side. I'll do that real quick off camera. And we have them looking just like this. But before I move on, I want to deviate real quick just to talk about his weapon storage. Now, Finch, yes, now, because we have to untransform him later on. I want to save the time, but you can't take his gun, and you're just going to fold in the handle just like this, and you can see it kind of got basically an outline on either door. You can put it in either door, and all it is just gonna, it's a kind of a loose press fit in there, and you're just going to kind of keep it in there, and there it will sit, out of sight, out of mind. But before we move on, we are going to move in here with the front end. So what you're going to do is you're going to rotate the front end all the way around, and there is a slot right up in here. You got two tabs right down here. You're just going to bring the front end down and just kind of tab it in just like that. And now what we can do is we can bring up the doors. You notice that the doors have a tab right here, and you got a slot right here, so you can just kind of work this double hinge real quick and just gotta kind of hold the gun in, and you can just bring it in, and you're gonna tab everything in, just kind of squeeze it in together. Same thing for the other door. Again, you're gonna bring this down just like this. Just kind of tab everything in. Make sure up here is out of the way, and then what you're going to do is you're going to kind of accordion this back. Make sure this hinge comes back just like this, and this is going to sit back here. You got two tabs right in here. They're going to go into two slots right here, and that will finish off basically the entire front end of the vehicle, and we'll move on to the legs next. So let's move on to the legs, and what we're going to do is we want to give ourselves some room to work, bring it out, and we can open up this panel here, fold this in just like this and leave it out. Bring the heel out just like this, because what we're going to do next is we're going to untab the leg right up here, kind of break his leg of sorts. And then you want to come out here and just kind of work this panel apart, pull it up like this, and it's going to fold all the way over just like this. Now you can bring the heel of the foot in and then just push the toe in just like this. It's going to be flush with this structure right here. Next, what we want to do is we want to bring this down on this hinge right here, and we want to essentially get the hand in we want to kind of bring up the combiner hand just like this and kind of straighten out the fingers just like this. Kind of get it so it's not above here, and then we can take the thumb and just kind of bring the thumb in and just kind of tuck it right under right there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take this whole side panel of the ambulance and make sure the leg is straight. Just rotate it all the way around, just like this, so it's sitting like that. You got two slots right up here, so what we're going to do, those slots are going to go right into a tab right here. So we're going to bring this up and over just like this, and when we start to close the outside, it's going to tab in right here. So we're going to bring this in just like this, and it's going to tab it and form a structure just like that. Now what we can do is we can bring up the back of the ambulance right here on this hinge. Remember, you got a tab right here that's going to tab in, and you can just kind of bring it in, and you're going to kind of work the fingers up into the top of the ambulance just like this. And you want to get this locked in from the back right here, just like that. And so it's going to look like this, and then you're going to fold this in just like this. And the last step is at the cut joint right here, you're going to push the leg in just a little bit, just like it usually clicks into place, but for some reason mine didn't click. And that's going to be it for one leg. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'll be right back. So I just wanted to show you what this should look like, since this part of the combiner hand is lacking a thumb. So again, it should just have this kind of blank cavity down here. Mine doesn't like to shut all the way up here, but you can see on the outside it is all closed up. So what we're going to do is we're going to shut this. Also, one thing I forgot to mention with the other leg, you have this screw right here. It's kind of on a rail. You want to pull this all the way back just like this, and then you can close this panel up. We'll do the same thing on this side. Then if you notice, if you look in his gentleman's area, you have tabs, you have slots, you have tabs and slots, and you're just gonna put these in. You can kind of bring the legs out on this armature right here, and you just kind of bring these together and just tab them in. That's why I moved them in that cut joint. And then what you can do is you can start just kind of bringing in the legs. You got a tab right here. You got slots right here. So you're just going to kind of bring it in. Kind of bring the toe down real quick. Just like that. And then same thing for the other side. You're just going to bring it in just like that. It's going to meet up with the other leg, and you're just going to kind of squeeze everything together all the way around. Squeeze it all the way around. And like magic, there we have MMC Medicus in his Nissan Cherry Vanette ambulance mode. So let's talk about his vehicle mode, and it does look really, really good. Again, just a mixture of colored plastic and paint, but the paint is nicely appointed on this guy. Like we talked about in robot mode, he's got emergency painted on the side there, and then of course he's got the black trim pieces, got the silver for the door handles, even the keyhole was painted in there, which just looks good. Got this symbol right here painted on. Then of course you have silver for the headlights, and of course the running lights up here, more trim pieces, some venting detail. The glass is a mixture of clear frosted plastic, and it has this little black outline with the windshield wipers. I love when companies do this because you can't, it's hiding all the robot junk in there, but it still looks really good and premium. And then you got paint for the windshields going all the way across the back, and you even got a little windshield wiper painted in here as well. Clear plastic for the emergency lights, and then of course he does have these side mirrors. They are just made of flimsy rubber, and they do have the reflective piece on there, which is really cool, but you won't break these since you are moving around them quite a lot. Moving the back, he's got some silver for the license plate area. You got a little bit of exhaust port detail, and he's got the tail lights painted in there as well. Just overall looking really good. Rubber for the tires, and they are on a very nice set of industrial silver painted wheels, which looks really good. He won't really roll per se. You kind of got to press down on him to get him to roll, but all four wheels will move. It's just kind of the way he transforms mixed in with that. And if you look at the bottom, you can see he pretty much hides the robot mode very well. So hard to tell that this is an actual something that turns into a robot, let alone a combiner component. So they did a really solid job there. And of course, we already talked about his weapon storage, which you know how I like my weapon storage, out of sight, out of mind, especially since he's the passivest of the team. It doesn't make sense to have it out awkwardly on him, so I do like the way that stores. And we'll do a few quick comparisons before we move on. We'll bring in Mr. MP Ratchet right there so you can see how that looks. They are both Nissan Cherry Vanette ambulance modes, and again, they actually look really good together. It's amazing how close they are in vehicle size. Ratchet does sit a bit higher, but overall, they just look really good together. Look like they almost came from the same family. And lastly, we're going to bring in, of course, his buddy Navigant, or Streetwise, so you can see how the team looks in their alternate modes, and these guys look absolutely masterful together. I am really digging how this set is going so far. And that's going to be pretty much it for his vehicle mode, so let's move on to combine mode. Now to get him into combine mode, we're going to kind of break him in half, so to speak, just at the ab crunch, and we're going to kind of slowly pull the legs apart. You want to make sure that his thighs stay as one cohesive piece, and you're just going to kind of bring the legs out. This will give us some area to work. Bring this panel down, open this up, and you notice you got a tab right here. You're just going to bring this around. It rotates all around, and you do have a little slot right here. It's kind of hard to see, but rotate this around, and this will slot right in there, and then you can bring out the thumb just like that. Close this up, move on to the other side, bring this up, bring out the back of the van, and then you can tab, because the tab right here, and this will just tab in, and then you can close this up. You notice you got slots on this side. Over here, even on the hand, you got slots and tabs. Kind of hard to see because the hands are black, and you're just going to kind of bring everything down and just smush it all together. Same thing, close up the hand really good. And the last step is you got tabs on these panel slots up here. You're just going to lock in everything, and that'll keep this nice and cohesive. Secondly, or lastly, I should say, you're going to bring this, and you can just open this piece up right here. You're going to activate the ab crunch, and as you come up, you can bring this down. This is the combiner peg, of course, and you can just kind of leave this open or close it up for now. And this step is kind of optional, but the instructions say to do it, but bring out the glass just a bit like that. And there we have Mr. Medicus in his combiner mode. He is a big, giant arm of doom. And overall, I mean, honestly, I'm not going to do any comparisons because we already know that the other one I have is the Toy World, and we know that that's going to be bigger than this guy. But I think solidly, the engineering, you can't deny the engineering on this guy. So the transformation to get there was not hard at all. I mean, he does look really good. I do quite like how this looks, just kind of being all there in one cohesive piece, especially how everything works. As far as what he does have a little bit of a shoulder hinge. He does ab crunch or waist swivel does become the rotation at the shoulder. He does have a rotation at the upper wrist, and as well as an elbow that gets you, it looks like it's going to get you about 90. And then of course he does have wrist rotation as well. The thumb is on a base hinge that goes in and out, and he has a secondary hinge here. All the fingers have a hinge at the base, a secondary hinge up here, and a hinge near the fingertip. And of course they can splay out, so you can get that giant bear claw and just be like, talk is, well, not talk is cheap, but there's junk in the road. That's what Defensor says. But yeah, and that's gonna be pretty much it for his combined mode. Overall, really good looking and really solid engineering. So let's sum it up for Ocular Max Medicus. And you can honestly say the same thing about this guy that you can about a lot of Ocular Max's figures. They don't entirely have the feel or the finish that you get with something like a Fans Toys or an X Transbots, but this is an incredibly solid, incredibly well-built, well-engineered, fun-to-pose Transformers action figure. And I think this thing is absolutely spectacular. The transformation to both modes is intuitive, it's fun, it's enjoyable. He's sturdy, he's built to last. I must have gone through the transformation with this guy a ton of times, and this guy just takes it. He's got materials that are built to take the punishment, and I absolutely love it. He is how a toy should absolutely feel, and I do highly recommend him if you want one of your own. I'll put a link to Big Bad Toy Store, where I do believe he is still in stock, so you can check it out there and get yourself one if you want to get started on this set. And that is going to conclude this review, so you guys know what to do at this point. If you found this review fun and informative, let me know by hitting that like button down below. I do greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, I urge you to consider subscribing and become part of my team. I do Transformers reviews of both the official and third-party variety weekly or so. I'll post a link to my Maximus Pro playlist in the description below, so you could check that out and check out some of my other works in my other playlists. And that is going to be about it. I have been FC Finch. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.